Welcome back to another beautiful day here in Fun King Garage, and today I am back working on the Fummins project. Now this particular project is hitting the point where a lot of what I need to do is small but important things. We've hit all of the major milestones, well, other than starting it of course, but now it's time to start picking up those little things that people don't necessarily think about on a project of this scale. So first up is a small but very nerve-wracking project, and that is hooking the power up for the first time. I really hope she doesn't burn to the ground. I hear the key in, so I'm going. I don't see or smell anything burning. Alright, so the Edge CTS3 is up and reading. My radio is on. Again, I don't see anything smoking. Nothing smells hot. So I'm gonna hook the second battery up and then we'll move on. Scan to the computers. Get a fuel pump running. Sounds like there's an injector kicking. Well, so far, no fuel leaks. Right now we're attempting to connect to the Ford PCM. Looks like it's communicating with the Ford. Going to disconnect the CTS3, disconnect from the Ford. And move HB tuners over to the Dodge. Over to the Cummins. It looks like we are communicating with the Cummins as well. So, we got battery, we got no smoke, the ticking from the engine finally stopped. That might have just been trying to purge the fuel, now that I think about that. The fuel pump does run, it does prime, it does shut off as it's supposed to. Fuel gauge is working, looks like I got almost 3/4 of a tank, so I can pour some more in there. My radio has come back up. This is pretty exciting. Everything seems to be communicating. So let me get situated and we'll move on to the next step. I am so relieved that that went as well as it did. Nothing caught on fire. There was no smoke. There was no issues at all. And both the Ford and Cummins computer are communicating. And that is huge. That is super huge. So I can mark this one as accomplished and I can move on to this next step. So every so often a project kind of takes a turn in a direction that you didn't really plan. And one of the things that a lot of people said when I started this project was to make sure that I went through and freshened up the entire engine. And I opted not to because, one, because of cost, two, because this is not the long-term motor that I plan to have in here, and three, because every time you run down a rabbit hole, it makes the project take longer. So I did a rear main seal on this before I put everything together because it had signs that it had been leaking. When I poured oil in this the other day, some oil appeared on the suspension components, which tells me the front seal is also leaking. So guess what? I'm doing a front seal today. Now, some people will tell you that you don't have to take that pulley off, that you can actually work this bracket off of here without removing that pulley, but it's just so much easier this way. The reason I'm going to take that off is because this all needs to be torqued back on proper. If I don't take this off, I can't put a torque wrench on that. And let's see how easy that comes off of there. Looks like it's going to come off pretty easy. So I'm going to take 3 of 4 out of there. There it is. Be a good time to clean all that up, but the rubber in there looks really good. Oh, you see what I see? That's wet. That's all wet laying up on top of there. So this was a good plan. Also have a loose bolt right there. Well, I'll be dipped. Let's get all that cleaned up too. As I understand it, you only have two options for bolts, long or short. And you technically can't screw them up because the long bolts go in the holes that don't have threads right at the edge of the hole. But I love Ziploc bags for bolts, so it's almost like there's no rhyme or reason to when the bolts are long and when the bolts are short. Yeah, and that's a lot of oil on the bolt, which means that that cover was not sealed up good whenever the last time it came off. Whoa. I don't know if these are blind holes or not, but that bolt was completely saturated in what looks like old motor oil. Because I just put the new motor oil in and I haven't even run it yet, so. So I will give those a cleaning before they go back in too. I don't know if that's part of the seal. I think it is. I think that's part of the seal, which could definitely be part of this problem. Wow. Yeah, it doesn't look like the sealant did a very good job on that front cover. So I need to get all of this cleaned up, and then I'm going to take that cover out and give it a good cleaning as well, and then I'll reposition the camera so you can see me putting the new seal in, and then hopefully that's all it's going to take. Oh, I'm glad I got a sleeve too. There's a definite ridge in that crank. So I'm going to install the sleeve, install the seal, but first everything's got to be cleaned up. Now, not knowing the history of this motor, I only intend to run it for about 1,000 miles before I do its next oil change. It just had one, but the oil that came out with it was black, like what you're seeing in here. And so I want to make sure that I alleviate any problems that it may be facing. All right, that should be good. I'm gonna go wash the cover, and then we'll push the old seal out and push the new seal in. That should be it. Now let's back this off and make sure that it's seated all the way. That doesn't want to come off of there, so I can tell you right now that sleeve is not straight. Sorry, camera battery died, didn't realize it. So I got my puller in position. Let me grab a wrench. So it looks like that sleeve ended up going a little bit underneath the tool. All looks good except for right there. There it goes. Crisis diverted. So I don't know if it's a low quality tool, or if I did something wrong. It was definitely an affordable tool. There we go. It's pushed on. It's got an even lip all the way around it. Move on to the next step. And that next step for today is me telling you that unfortunately you have to wait until the next episode to see the conclusion of the front main seal install. You see, there was so much footage with this that it would have made the video entirely too long, and I had to make that executive decision to cut it in half. But the good news is you're still going to get to see it. You just have to wait until next time. Now, if you've made it this far in the video, I want to say thank you and to let you know that you are a rock star. If you haven't yet hit that subscribe button, I would love for you to do so because it costs you nothing and it helps the channel grow so much. And it just means the world to me. It makes me very warm and fuzzy on the inside. Also, hit that comment section with any comments or questions. I reply to just about every comment made. Now, this is the point where I have to tell you that it's time for me to grab my bag, hit the road, and move on to my next adventure. Thanks for watching.